Hello, my name is Dr. Heather Brown. As Director of Grant Writing and Publications at the University of Missouri-Columbia, I am pleased to welcome you to the 4th Annual Federal Research Update webinar. This event is sponsored by the University of Missouri-Columbia, the National Association of College and University Business Officers, and the Florida High-Tech Corridor Council, an economic development initiative of the State University System of Florida. We are so pleased that all of you could join us today. If you have any technology issues or concerns or any questions at all, please go ahead and email that to federalupdate@missouri.edu. And if you have a question you want our presenter to answer, you can send that to federalupdate@missouri.edu at any time during the broadcast. You don't have to wait for the question and answer period. Again, that email address is federalupdate@missouri.edu. I'm very pleased today to introduce to you Michael Nelson. Mike is currently the Associate Administrator of the Office of Federal Assistant Management for the Health Resources and Service Administration at the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Prior to coming to HRSA in 2008, Mike worked at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration for 19 years, serving as Director of Grants Policy and Director of the Grants Management Division. Take it away, Mike.
Thank you, Heather. And thank you all for tuning in. I'm with the Health Resources and Services Administration with the Department of Health and Human Services. Most of you, if you're interested in this piece at all, interested in health, focus, I know, on the NIH, National Institutes of Health. But we're an important part of HHS, and I'd like to talk a little bit about that, if I may. First, what's our mission? Our mission is to improve the health and achieve health equity through access to quality services, a skilled workforce, and innovative programs. And a big part of getting there with us, with HRSA, is training and with research. And that's what I'll talk about. I'll talk in general terms, and then I'll try to be a little bit more specific about what we do. On your screen, you'll see a website, a URL for Dr. Wakefield. She is the administrator for HRSA, and she put together, it's about a 3-minute, we don't have time to watch it now, but a 3-minute video on what we do in HRSA in general, including a little bit about the research that we support. And just so you all know, in general, HRSA supports about $7.5 billion a year in grants and cooperative agreements to a variety of folks, including universities and nonprofit organizations. But when you get a chance, if you look at Dr. Wakefield's video, I think you'll find it useful. What I have here is just to show you who we are. And for openers, I want to talk a little bit about the pieces I'm not going to talk about with the research so much, just to set the framework for our environment that we have at the Health Resources and Services Administration. The first one is the Bureau of Primary Health Care, which you see on the far left. We fund about 1,300 health centers, they're called community health centers, throughout the country. People that either have no insurance or little insurance can go, and on a sliding scale they can get services through these health centers. They're nationwide. They also have what we call points of contact, so one health center could have 5 or 10 different points of contact. They benefit in large part from some of the research I'm going to talk about. If you look on the far right, the HIV/AIDS Bureau, that focuses through formula grants and discretionary grants on people that have AIDS, are HIV positive, again with the different communities in this country, and we focus on grants through states, through cities, and through nonprofit organizations to basically help people who are living with AIDS. And the last one on the far right, the Bureau of Clinician and Recruitment Services, I imagine a lot of you are familiar with the National Health Service Corps. That focuses on providing support through loan repayments to nurses or doctors that become primary care physicians. Some of you may have seen Northern Exposure. You're probably all young and don't remember that. But the doctor in Northern Exposure was a National Health Service Corps doctor who, as part of his deal, served in Alaska. And that's the kind of thing that we do, and that's expanding. And that's, again, but those are on-the-ground direct services that we provide. The other 4 are the ones I'm going to talk about in terms of, and these are our bureaus and offices today. Research opportunities that I think you all might be interested in: Maternal and Child Health, Bureau of Health Professions, Office of Rural Health Policy, and Healthcare Systems. Just a minor point before I continue. Office of Rural Health Policy is for Health and Human Services, It happens to be housed at HRSA, but it actually is the department's Office of Rural Health Policy, focused on the particular needs of people that live in rural communities. And Healthcare Systems Bureau, I'll talk a little bit about that, but that again, that's a HHS-focused operation that you've probably seen advertisements for in Newsweek, which I'll mention in a moment. The first one, and this is the one that I want to talk about, the bulk of our research that you all would be interested in has to do with maternal and child health research programs. If you look at the website there, based on what I'm saying, you can check that website. We also have the grants.gov website. I'll talk a little bit about that. But in terms of specifics, we have information. But what I like to talk about is just to give you a general impression of what we do and the kind of things we support. Applied and translational, again, translating the basic research or medical research from NIH and others into use at hospitals, at primary care centers, whatever. And again, why? The potential to improve health services and care delivery and to promote health and well-being among MCH. And again, we'll tell you, I think the gap says, what kind of clothes do we have? Our clothes are for everybody, maternal and child health. If you're a mother, if you're a child, we're here to help you. So we try to cover everyone. For the research program, what do we try to focus on? Current areas of interest. And again, for those of you, I think all of you are involved in research, you realize that everything we do, everything that all the speakers at your groups do, focuses on our statutes, our governing statutes. What is Congress demanding that we do? The current statutes are based on past performance, past successes, on what you all have done in research. And so we are where we are based on the current state of health and based on the current state of research and the current state of where Congress thinks we're headed. So the current ones have to do with eliminating health disparities within the maternal and child health populations. What's interesting is, sort of an aside, the word eliminating it came up a lot. It's not reducing, it's not mitigating, it's eliminating. So the focus that we have is we want to eliminate health disparities within our communities. Increasing quality of care, again, that is an increase. We have a level of quality, we're trying to make it better, and just promote in general healthy development and improve effectiveness of service systems. As you know, as time goes by with electronic health records, other systems, how can we make sure that technology benefits as many people as possible, and how can we promote use of that technology, which is, again, particularly for maternal and child health, that's what we focus on. I want to start off talking with two basic kinds of grants that we do that, again, may impact some of you. Investigator-initiated applied research, again, obviously applied, with the potential to improve healthcare services and delivery, again, health and well-being, maternal and child populations, and these are the kinds of grants. They involve the correct collection of original data. So we're talking, you do the research, project period is up to 3 years, and again, the 3 years up to $900,000. We had to throw that in about direct and indirect because, again, if there's a question, we don't separate out the two. We just have a bottom line figure of $300,000 a year, $900 over 3 years, and that's the ceiling for what we have. But again, we have a variety of kinds of research. We advertise these in the Federal Register each year, and this is one of our major focuses. The second one is secondary data analysis. Again, secondary in the sense that, in this case, to take the research and then a secondary analysis of existing national or other large-scale data sets. And as you all know, we have plenty of data sets, and the tough part is picking out which ones you want to use, what you're after. And this is, again, less money, but I think in many ways as significant as the first group. These only provide support for a year, and we're talking about $100,000 again, bottom line, direct and indirect cost for research based on analysis of data regarding maternal and child health populations. That's what we focus on. Next question, again, for you all that we thought would be of interest: who applies? What's the pool of competitors? Pediatric and other, again, obviously pediatric and other medical departments at the universities, medical universities, schools of public health, other health fields, nonprofits, psychology and other social sciences and academic departments at universities, and then nonprofit research institutions. Again, the focus, as you all know, is on what is the statute, how is it evolving, and then our job is to convert the current status of that legislation into a funding opportunity announcement. We use grants.gov for all of our programs to translate it to you and try to focus on the kernels, the substance of the nature of the research we're trying to support, again, for the benefit of our populations. What age groups are targeted in, again, maternal and child health research program, pregnancy and prenatal, children from birth to 18, after 18 you're considered an adult, the transition to young adulthood, and women through their reproductive years. So again, these are the major focuses. So as you look at our opportunities, you need to be aware of the context. This is again, our statute as directed by Congress. So our research with our funding opportunity announcements try to focus on these areas. Right, this is sort of like the Baltimore Catechism. Does the MCH research program focus on underserved populations? Yes, again, most of it does. Some of these are underserved by virtue of ethnic minority, others because of immigrant populations, or live in rural areas, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. So the majority of targeted populations, but not all, are low income. Again, the focus is on, what we try to do is focus on maternal and child health. What can we do to help raise the bar and provide health? And now, as you know, a lot of it is prevention for these populations, but to reach everyone. Our job is to reach everyone, and we try to do that. And again, with this research, how can we improve that? How can we make it better than it is now? Again, do we fund studies of special needs populations? Now, the reason I mentioned the statutes before is these special needs populations, autism spectrum disorders, developmental disabilities, ADHD, ADD, asthma, chronic conditions associated with preterm birth or low birth weight, these are the current concerns. These are the ones that Congress is interested in, that we focus on, NIH does as well. But again, we're back on, we have the research, we focus on our target population, maternal and child health, and these are the current concerns that you can look for, again, as you see our funding opportunity announcements. You'll see what some of these are. The research program, what topics are funded? Healthcare systems and delivery, medical home, prenatal health and pregnancy outcomes, nutrition and obesity. Again, these are relatively current. Parenting and child development, more social services, and school outcomes and services. So again, the look, as you all know, focuses now on putting things together, not just health, not just social services, but how can you put these systems together to provide for a healthy populations, a healthy place for children to grow up, a healthy environment for mothers, and to make sure that the mother and the child are healthy, and what we can do to do that. And again, the research is a big part of that. Health promotion, again, targets, health promotion, illness and injury. As you know, a lot of it is a head injury now. It's a focus, as you all know from football, focus on that. Mental health and well-being, behavioral health, developmental needs and special health care needs, and then culture and context. Again, we have different pieces, different parts of the society, subcultures. Our job at HRSA is to make sure we reach everyone. So how can we reach everyone? Again, it's not one size fits all, but we need to be culturally competent in how we reach people and make sure that we have, say at our health centers, people that can help other people depending on the target population, the people that walk in the door, how can we help them? And our research helps us target not only those populations, we generally know who they are, but how we can help them, and that's what we're trying to do. And again, a lot of it is due to your work. And just some examples, I just have this here to give you some samples. The Combating Autism Initiative, research on evidence-based interventions to improve the health and well-being of children and adolescents with the autism spectrum disorders and other developmental disabilities. So again, that's where we are right now. Can we improve that? Again, let's look at the research, evidence-based, to see what you all can do to focus on this. Another one is the Autism Intervention Research Network on Physical Health. And again, as you see, research, evidence-based practices for interventions, children and adolescents with autism and other developmental disabilities. Again, working with pediatricians to see what can be done to improve life for these children. And then again, a network. Can we establish a network and maintain a network of infrastructure, conduct research? And again, as I think a lot of you know, the focus these days is on interventions and on evidence-based, obviously, interventions, but improving all aspects of life for these children, and what can we do? So the researchers at the HRSA in the Maternal and Child Health Bureau, and a lot of our bureau chiefs, directors, whatever, are pediatricians, doctors, nurses, and they focus on these health aspects. So that's what we do, and that's what they try to focus on. And then this one, shifting gears a little bit, we have the pediatric research in office settings. This is more the American Academy of Pediatrics. This is a cooperative agreement we have, and the mission is to improve the health of children and enhance primary care practice by conducting national collaborative practice-based research. So again, we're lucky with the American Academy of Pediatrics to work with them, to partner with us, to focus on this kind of research, again, in office settings. How can we improve things? And they've done a really fabulous job. And again, this one on ePros, it's a separate one. It's with, again, comparative effectiveness research. That was what I was searching for a moment ago. As you know, the current trend in medical research is comparative effectiveness research, and we're trying to work with that now, particularly with maternal and child health, particularly with the pediatric care, to use clinical environments to improve pediatric process across the country for our target population for our children. And this one, a Life Course Research Network advances public health, epidemiology, social determinants, etc., impacts disparities from a life course perspective. So this is sort of an overall project that we have, that Maternal and Child Health has. And again, if this is your cup of tea, if you would check with our website, and then, or you can contact me, I have my information here, you can use me to focus on these particular areas. I'm not an expert on any one of these, but our people are, and they'd be happy to discuss the issues with you in some detail, and I hope some of you do contact them. But another one, Pregnancy-Related Care Research Network, American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, improve the health and welfare care of women across the lifespan with a focus on reproductive health care. Who does this? Again, if you're watching this, HRSA does, NIH does. We support the research from, again, appropriated funds through Congress, but to focus on, again, where the rubber meets the road, to help children, to help mothers, apply the research from NIH, apply across the board so we can provide the best care, and again, eliminate health disparities. Everybody gets great health care. That's our goal. PCAR, this is an interesting one. It's the first federally funded multi-institutional network for research in pediatric emergency medicine in the U.S. And the goal is to, as you see, conduct meaningful and rigorous multi-institutional research in the prevention and management of acute illnesses and injuries, again, across everything in the continuum of emergency medicine healthcare. So this is relatively new, but again, the doctors at HRSA working with the researchers are focused on this. Again, if you have something like this, you have a crisis, can we provide the best service possible to the child as they need emergency health care? And the answer is we can, but we need to constantly improve it. Developmental Behavioral Pediatrics Research Network, another network we have, address health issues for children with the most significant and developmental disorders, including autism disorder and other related. So again, this is more severe, but we have a network. And again, this network, if you know about this, clearly you know what this is involved with. If not, again, if you would let us know, but we have a network to provide assistance and care to improve the situation. And then again, this is similar to this, but a Pediatrics Research Network, infrastructure to support rapid scientific discovery, ongoing activities, identify cutting-edge research, and again, apply the research to care. As Heather mentioned before, I used to work with NOAA, and at NOAA, the idea was there was research on weather, on climate, and the idea was how can you translate that as quickly as possible into forecasting? And same with medicine. How can you translate the information we have from NIH and others to provide services, but the best services possible at hospitals and clinics throughout the country? So I think this focuses on that. And then This one, maternal, infant, and early childhood home visiting, this is relatively new. Applied research to evidence-based home visiting programs. And again, we have a home visiting research network. And I think you'll see more and more with this piece of it, creation of an interdisciplinary multi-center research forum for scientific collaboration and infrastructure building related to home visiting research. Again, this is a relatively new concept. And at HRSA, we're trying to focus on how can we improve, again, if it takes home visiting, the life, the health, the well-being of children through the home visiting process. So we are focused on that. So again, those are the main ones in terms of maternal and child health that we have at HRSA. And I mentioned there's some other ones to a lesser, I shouldn't say a lesser, but a different degree at HRSA as well. First is health professions. This is a fairly big chunk of HRSA. This focuses on training a workforce, as you see, to support training for health professionals. So do we have enough health professionals in the country? No. Can we encourage that? Yes. So, and is there research? There's some research, not a lot, but there is some research. And what do? They integrate components of health professions training. Again, and we support training in several fields, including medicine, dentistry, nursing, behavioral health, geriatrics, and allied health. So this is sort of a workforce training programs that we have at HRSA to support doctors, nurses, other health professionals to come into to come into our society, I guess, to come into the fold of providing primary health care generally as a healthcare provider and help some of the populations that we're trying to help. Centers of Excellence programs support activities, again, underrepresented minority students, that's a big part. Support underrepresented minority students, faculty development, research on minority health issues and others. So we're trying to, again, bring as many people as we can into the fold, focus on the health professions, focus on raising the bar again and providing primary care services to needy populations in the country, and the health professions is focused on increasing the folks that can do this and hopefully do a good job. This is just one I just wanted to mention. The Ruth L. Kirstein National Research Service Award Institutional Training Grants. This sort of encapsulates what we're doing. Develop and enhance postdoctoral research, training opportunities for individuals who are planning to pursue careers, again, in primary care research as opposed to secondary, tertiary. NERSIP postdoctoral fellows are students as they participate in training programs, curriculum requirements, and evaluation criteria. And we have a few of these, again, for research opportunities for 2 to 3 years. But again, we're trying to encourage people in health professions to pursue postdoctoral research and to contribute to the field. And that's what HRSA does. This is what I mentioned before. I'd come back to rural health policy. We have a fairly large cooperative agreement program here. This has to do with conducting and disseminating policy-relevant rural health services on issues of national significance with a specific topic of concentration. What the country has come to conclude is that there are certain needs that are part of the rural health community that are distinct and can be treated separately and better if we can focus on their particular needs. And that's what we, with this rural health outreach, focuses on. So we're getting better and better, I think, with that target population of the needs, the rural health needs of the country. But again, and we're partnering with other agencies in Department, USDA, others in the government to try to, again, raise the bar and make sure we eliminate any health disparities for the rural health populations. The Healthcare Systems Bureau, this has to do with social and behavioral interventions to increase solid organ donation. I mentioned this before. If you get, I think Newsweek, they've had page advertisements. I think the biggest single help for this was somebody's, the guy from Facebook or something, his girlfriend was something about organ donation. But that helped, so now we suddenly increased organ donation. But we support for organ donation applied research efforts to test the effectiveness of strategies that increase deceased organ donation and increase the knowledge of the process, risks, advantages, and disadvantages of deceased and living donations among patients and potential donors. This is a very sort of touchy area. Again, we have some doctors and nurses at work in the field here, and they focus on how can we encourage organ donation. This is a good thing, but again, it's a touchy area, so, but it's a wonderful thing. And again, HRSA is involved in this a lot. Now that I've said that again, so that pretty much summarizes, I've tried to summarize the medical research priorities that HRSA has. And now that I have this opportunity, for me, again, my job is to award and administer the $7.5 billion in all the grants at HRSA. So I just want to mention how we do that. One is we have the HHS grants forecast. Those of you who are involved in work administration, I'm sure you know this. What you wouldn't know, I don't think, is that I get beat up by HHS if it's not up to date, if it's not accurate. On a monthly basis, we're asked to review, and there's about, I think, 12 of us, or 14 operating divisions in Health and Human Services that provide input to these HHS grants forecasts. And every month, we have to look at it, which we do, and make sure it's up to date. And if not, we update it. So that's number one. And what I like about that, and hopefully you like about it as well, is you can see what's down the road. That's all for all of fiscal 13. As you know, as you may know, we're right now under a continuing resolution through, I think, the end of March. I've been around for a while. That's life as I know it. So that's the way it is. So even so, we do have our forecast. We do tell you what we intend to do. As we change it, we'll be happy to let you all know. But you see the URL for the forecast, and at the bottom of you'll see it says email notifications for grants.gov. I'm sure a lot of you, if not all of you, use grants.gov as the application process. And just so you know, for HRSA, we use it for all of our competitive programs, so it is in grants.gov. But what I like, so you'll get it, and if you say HRSA or you have some keywords, maternal and child health or whatever, you would get notifications on the kind of research opportunities I'm talking about, and it's really a nice process. But the reason I think HHS forecast is more helpful for those of you watching this is it does tell you where we're headed, and it is where we're headed. And again, as I meant, sadly, we do get beat up because it has to be right. And as our budget crystallizes, as we know more information, we can make it better. And again, as time goes by, we put out the funding opportunity announcements to match with the information that you see on the forecast. But we have that, and it's a very big deal at Health and Human Services. And as you know, for health research, that's what we do. I don't know if you can see the website. It's there, but again, for the URL, that's our generic website. And again, we post all of our funding opportunities at this other website. And while I have you all, we have technical assistance resources for applicants about how to apply. And if you get a chance, if you look at it, especially if you're a nonprofit, especially if you haven't applied for a grant before, one of the things we try to focus on, again, we're not successful, but we try to be, is so that if you are otherwise eligible to receive an award, we don't get in the way. That we, based on our requirements, we try to minimize, standardize our requirements as much as possible. That's why we have grants.gov. So if you apply for a grant with us, or from education, or from defense for research, you might get that. It should be about the same. And we're not there yet, but we're almost there. And the one thing, while I have you all, is just to keep in mind that what we all call red tape, those are hopefully, always, hopefully, requirements on receiving grant funds. That grant funds are appropriated funds, that there are strings attached, that we try to put them in the announcement. So we say, if you apply for these grants funds, these are the strings that apply. So just be aware. And then as we make the award, we do the same thing. So our job, my job, is to sort of minimize that, but make sure you're aware of it, because you will be held to it. And then two, say, well, here is the announcement itself. Here are the activities we need you to focus on. We tell you the background, as I mentioned, the statutory requirements, and focus on this. And just one thing to remember, I think in general it's safe to say that if we could fund you for what you wanted to do, as opposed to what we want you to do, it wouldn't quite fit. We get that. But again, for HRSA, for NIH, for anyone else, we're directed by statute, so you need to be aware of that, so that as you have your own research, you're aware of us being driven by the statute and by the funding opportunity announcement, and by what those criteria are, especially the evaluation criteria. So what we recommend in general, and for you all, as you apply, if you have somebody in maybe a different hospital, different institution, that can look as your panel reviewer, as a make-believe panel reviewer, if you can prepare it in time before you submit an application, let them review it, give you feedback. Maybe you can strengthen some of these things before you submit the proposal. But I just want to say, and then the other thing is, if you go to our website for HRSA, we have focused on applications from people who have never received the grant before and who have been unsuccessful at receiving a grant. So again, including researchers. So if you go to the website, we try to have tips from people, my staff, and program office staff that get involved in this, and we try to say, here's what's wrong, here's what works, here's what the common errors that people have, including people that work with grants.gov, including subject matter experts, including budgets and things like that. So, and we think it would help not just HRSA, but NIH or other grant applications as well. And if not, again, we're always looking for feedback. But our job, the way we look at it is can we simplify the process itself, make it not onerous at all, so we fund the best programs that we can. That's what we're trying to do. And just a few minor things along the way. Not to protecting human subjects is minor, but we do have on ours a training site on human subjects. What that involves, it's an evolving concern. Most of our, again, grants at HRSA don't involve research, but if they do, again, human subjects is an issue, and we have this training on that. And then the other one I wanted to mention is the financial conflict of interest. That, again, it's hard to see, but there's a URL as well. But as you may or may not know, there's an issue, there may be an issue regarding researchers and conflict of interest. So we just have this out there. It's what I mentioned before. As we have funding opportunity announcements, as we make awards, again, this is a regulation. These are parts and parcel. Again, it's red tape, whatever. But we just wanted to tell you. And then it should be clear. It should make sense. Most of these things do make sense. So that as you apply, you can make sure there is no conflict of interest. And if you're not sure, you can contact the agency, us, who's making the award, and say, here's the situation, is this a problem or not? And in my world, it's always better if you ask us up front. If you ask us up front, we'll try to get you the right information, fix it, rather than after the fact. After the fact, ex post facto, it's much more difficult. And that's just one issue, and it's not a big deal, but I did want to mention it. This one I do want to mention. This is a program integrity is an initiative of Kathy Sebelius, the Secretary of Health and Human Services. She's had it for about 3 or 4 years now. And the purpose, in general, is responsible stewardship of taxpayer dollars. And again, if you've been around as long as I have, you know from day one, it's always about responsible stewardship of taxpayer dollars. But again, more specifically, eliminate improper payments. Did we pay somebody we shouldn't have? As Medicare fraud, Medicaid fraud, whatever, there's issues, is something wrong, and we're trying to reduce improper payments. Reduce the risk of waste, fraud, and abuse. So we try to have, and we have had websites or webinars where we talk a little bit about fraud, waste, and abuse, and things to avoid, things for you all to spot, things for you to be careful of, because again, we don't win when that happens. We win and you win when all these things are eliminated or reduced, and again, the money is focused on the research. And again, in my world, I'm happy if you do the research as advertised. If everyone applies, say, here's what we'll do, we say, fine, here's the money, I'm happy, you're happy, everybody's happy. In terms of, again, program integrity, then you're real happy, and the program people are real happy as the results of the research, positive, favorable, unfavorable, whatever, positive or negative, come to light. Again, programs operate effectively and efficiently. So in my world, now that I'm at HRSA, when I was at NOAA, same sort of thing. So more of the grant dollar can go towards, now where I am, say the inoculation for the child for something, or whatever it is, the treatment of the adult. That's what we want. So can we maximize focus on the program aspects of whatever it is, and minimize the expenditure for administrative people like me? And the answer is, yeah, we can. We always are trying to work with that, and we try to get better and better. And again, part of that is we get from you all innovation, collaboration, creativity. We've had, since I've been at HRSA, and certainly when I was at NOAA, we'd had meetings similar to this, and it was more follow-up. Like after this, if you all are listening, if you have ideas on how we can make things better, just send me an email or send to the doctors or whatever. We try to work on that. One of the things I want to mention, I've been working, again, I've been around a long time, with OMB on projects and priorities. And one of the things you see you'll get is when an announcement goes out or a regulation or proposed regulation goes out, there'll be an opportunity for comment. And they'll say, if you have a comment, forms, whatever it is, please submit your comments to such and such, and then there's a name and address, and you submit it. And having worked on this for several years, every comment is taken seriously, every one. And I always thought when I was on the other side of it is, well, are they just going to toss this away or not? No, we don't. And we have a matrix, we look at them, and we try to, and just so you all know, in general, the focus is on, let's see if we can accept this comment. How can we accept it? And then if we can't, we can't. And the other thing that you wouldn't see is a lot of the comments are contradictory. So then your comment may not work out, but someone may have had something different. But I can tell you that in general, innovation, effectiveness, collaboration, creativity focuses on our partners in the research community administratively as well as research. Honest disclosure of potential conflicts of interest. What I said before, if there might be something, let us know. We'll tell you, maybe there's not, but if you let us know early on, we can address it and then move on. And then again, what's the bottom line? The right people receive the right services and benefits. Again, in this case, in your cases for research, that the funds go to the best application, the research is the best we can fund, the results are used, and then we go on. So again, as you know, if you're involved in research, it's all pieces. So we have these pieces and we're constantly moving forward. And I for one, appreciate your working and being part of the process, whatever it is you're doing. And then, yeah, this is just, again, this is me. Again, I federal assistance management, grants, cooperative agreements, loan repayments. So when things go wrong, I'm here. And then you see my email address and my phone number, and that's a direct line, and you can just call me anytime. And then again, if you have in general questions about HRSA, you can contact us there. But again, what I mentioned just now about OMB is also true about HRSA and the research community, that again, in terms of maternal and child health, Health Services Bureau, rural health policy, health professions, they all have people whose lives depend on, again, improving the well-being, the health of the country, especially with the more needy populations. That's what we do. So if you contact me, contact them, we try to get back to you and try to work with that. Okay? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. If you have a question that you'd like Michael Nelson to answer, please send it to federalupdate@missouri.edu. Again, that email address is federalupdate@missouri.edu. Just a note, do not make that federal updates, plural. Make sure to send it to federalupdate@missouri.edu. So we have a couple of questions in already.
Okay.
First one, do you anticipate any brand new grant opportunities or new priorities from HRSA for the upcoming fiscal year? Or should we assume that this year's opportunities will be solicitations that mirror ones that have been competed in the past?
Yeah, we have, last year we had, I think, about 96 solicitations. This year so far, we had 91, now we have 95. So it's different. In answer to your question, right now, for all the continuing types of grants we've had, yes, we're putting them out. We have as I mentioned on the HHS forecast, we have those there. So we're continuing with that. But there'll be a new Congress. I anticipate we'll have several new programs based on experience. And I'm not sure, obviously, what will happen in terms of the election and how it'll go. But I would say that what you need to do is focus on the grant forecast. And then, like, look at the website. One of this, I hate to say sad, but that impacts you all is one of the things that OMB focuses on, and we all try to focus on, but we don't do a very good job, is to give you all as much time as possible. What we like to do is give you, say, 60 days. So when we put an announcement out on November 1st, that you have until January 1st to submit it. an application. That gives you plenty of time. You don't have to wait till January 1st, but 60 days is good. In general, we don't always do that. Sometimes we have 30 days, and 30 is supposed to be the minimum for all of us. In the best of all possible worlds, we'd have 90 days. As you point out, though, if we've had programs before, we probably will continue them unless Congress zeroes them out, in which case we would not. But the reason I mentioned that about the time frame, as Congress passes appropriations in fiscal 13, they will have competitive programs, and as I think probably all of you know, we'll have until September 30th. So whenever they pass the law until September 30th, or the appropriations, that's the amount of time we have to make awards. And our job is to make, again, the best competitive awards possible. So I would say pay attention, and as appropriations are passed, once that's done, then HRSA will focus on what are the new research or whatever programs that we have, and we'll have to put them out. We'll do the best we can, but we will put them out for funding in fiscal 13, and there'll be a protracted telescope time frame. So, but works both ways. If you pay attention, there may be something that strikes your fancy that fits your area of expertise, and it could fit in. And I do anticipate that there will be some. What they would be, I don't know, but some programs like that. And then when that happens, again, chances are the time frames will be more restrictive. But yes, I expect we'll have some new programs in fiscal 13.
Thank you. Again, if you have a question that you would like answered, please send it to federalupdate@missouri.edu. Question here, can you explain in a little bit more detail the differences in mission or funding plans between HRSA and the Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality?
Yeah, I think a little bit. Our major focus at HRSA has to do with, again, eliminating health disparities. And we try to focus on, again, what I mentioned at the very beginning with our health centers. Indian Health Service has Indian Health Service funded centers to do similar activities to what we do, primary health care. And then we have, again, HIV/AIDS. So a lot of our research tries to focus on the target population of those groups. And as you saw with the maternal and child health, that sort of goes outside that area. So you have to talk to the ARC person. But in my world, I'd say the MCHB covers a lot of similar ground as ARC would, except for, again, ours is focused in that case on maternal and child health. But there is overlap, which is one of the reasons I think the HHS forecast helps. We're not supposed to step on each other's toes. We're supposed to be collaborative with each other. There might be some overlap, but there should never be duplication. So what we do should be consistent with our sister agencies, including ARC. And for me, I've worked closely with IHS. Others in HRSA have worked more closely with ARC. But again, you should see, from your perspective, in my view, between grants.gov and the HHS forecast and other things, you should be able to see what kind of research you're interested in, regardless of who's funding it, and then whoever it is should be able to support what you want. It just so happens that we fund this and they fund that, but I think the focus would be more on what it is. Again, use grants.gov, use the HHS forecast, find where the fit is, and again, in terms of requirements and priorities, in terms of peer review, they should be comparable, so all of us are trying to fund the best research. So again, yeah, there is some difference. I have trouble defining exactly what it is, but there should be collaboration, some overlap, no duplication, but between us, we should support a lot of the research that you may be interested in.
Thank you. Again, if you have a question, please send it to federalupdate@missouri.edu. Question here, will the scholarships for disadvantaged students opportunity be issued again this year or in the near future?
Yeah, as far as I know, if you send me an email, I'll get back to you for sure. As far as I know, the answer is yes, but I'm not sure, so I will respond to you. I have no reason. I don't know that it, but again, if it's zeroed out by Congress, then not. But as far as I know now, the answer is it will continue.
Okay, thank you. Again, if you have a question, please send it to federalupdate@missouri.edu. Question here for small business partners. Are there opportunities for small businesses to pursue HRSA funding?
That's a good question. We don't have a small business innovation research program. Other agencies do. We don't. In general, I would say it would be minimal, Most of our grants, as I mentioned, are states, nonprofits, universities. We have formula and discretionary. Pretty much in terms of the mission, most of it is not targeted to small businesses. Most of it is, again, states, so there'd be minimal. Again, if you send me an email, I can see if we do have something. But I'd say compared to other agencies, HRSA does not.
Okay, thank you. What is being done to improve the response time of the HRSA call center, in particular related to EHB issues?
Well, that's great because, see, I have a HRSA person on the line. That's good to know. It's interesting. That came up actually 2 weeks ago, and what happened was we had a call center, and in the winter or spring, for those of you not involved, you can take a break. But with HRSA, if in the EHBs, the electronic handbooks, it's our automated system for grants, applications, whatever. Everything is through the electronic handbooks. If you have a problem or question, you call the help desk. And we had a long-term contract that was changed. We have a new contractor starting, I think, in March or April, and we've had some issues with that. They sort of came to a head about, I'd say, around 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we're addressing that now. Right now, my understanding is everyone has been, as I speak, I love this question, everyone has been retrained. They are much better. So again, you have my email. If that's not the case, let me know. But we were aware. It took a while, though, and I think I don't know. But what struck me was everyone just sort of got used to the old system. They thought it was fine. They called the call center, it was fine. But as time went by, they saw that the support had deteriorated, and that was why. But again, now we've got, I think, different people, but trained people. They focused on what the issues were. It did come to light as a problem, and as we speak, if you contact the call center, you should get service right away, no problems, and if not, again, let me know.
Thank you. Again, if you have a question, please send it to federalupdate@missouri.edu. That email address again is federalupdate@missouri.edu. In regards to the health professions training areas, are there opportunities that might be a good fit for the type of training and education offered by community colleges?
Yeah, I hope so. One of the things that they are focused on is, again, sort of a step-by-step process getting into primary care, and it would start at community colleges. The problem is, again, as a profession, you have to have certain requirements which can often be met at community colleges, which is good. I'm not sure exactly the nexus between the community college system and Bureau of Health Professions, but again, if someone sends me an email, I can find that more specifics and get back to you. But I can tell you that last year, 2 years ago, I did meet with a president of a system out in California, and again, what he was describing, and he met with the Bureau of Health Professions staff, was a fit. That what he was trying to do did fit into what they were trying to do, and it did seem to be a nice fit for what they could do together to move forward. I'm not sure what happened with that, but again, if you send me something, I'll forward it to our people and let you know. But my answer, as far as I know, is yes, very much so.
Okay. Thank you. Again, federal research, or federal update at missouri.edu. Are researchers encouraged to contact program officers directly, and given enough time, they review drafts of proposals?
No. You mean for applications?
Yes.
No, they wouldn't review, hopefully they wouldn't review drafts of proposals. Again, we try to have a level playing field, so once the announcement is out, depending on the program, what we'll have, depending on the need, we will have, which is hopefully helpful, a question and answer period where researchers can call in. We'll have the project people there, we'll have some grants people there, and we'll answer generic questions. The basic premise is you don't want to give somebody a leg up who called in, as opposed to someone who didn't call in. On the other hand, we should be clear, and sometimes, sadly, when we have these call-ins, somebody will ask a question and then we'll see that it's not clear. When that happens, and we've done this, is we'll reissue the Federal Register announcement and we'll say, as a clarification, we meant to say this, we see now it wasn't as clear as it could have been. In general, what we do on these Q's and A's is provide clarification, which is okay. And then we'll have a follow-up with questions, and we'll post it so that for that announcement you can go on our website, see the Q's and A's. You can listen to the webcast if you want to, and then we'll have follow-up Q's and A's. But again, in general, it should be clarification. We wouldn't get involved. They shouldn't be involved in drafts or approvals or anything else. It should only be, you can ask general questions, again, where we weren't clear and we should have been, and that's okay. But anything past that, no, we wouldn't provide anything that would give anyone a leg up. Because you talk to somebody, you have a better, you could be more likely funded than somebody who did. No, we wouldn't do that.
Okay, thank you. I have another question here. Can researchers volunteer to serve as reviewers, and if so, how can they do that?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I should have had it on here, but if maybe I'll send the follow-up to Heather. But we do have on our HRSA website, we do have to sign up to be a reviewer. We have a database of about 10,000 reviewers in HRSA. It is a lot of people are researchers, and we're always trying to improve and expand the database. In general, what we have is we have about a 2/3, 1/3 mix on any review. Maybe 2/3 of the reviewers have reviewed for one or more of our programs before. 1/3 have never reviewed our programs before. They may or may not have been a reviewer. We find it's very helpful, again, assuming there's no conflict of interest, so you can see what we do, and you'll see, as a reviewer, the process. So we particularly like it for new reviewers, young reviewers, people that may not have applied for a grant before, to see how the process works. And what you'll see, I hope, is that we have briefings for the reviewers. We'll say, here's the announcement, here are your applications. And what we have more now, and again, I guess if you've been listening for the past day or so, maybe it's come up or not, about meetings and conferences, that meetings and conferences are bad, teleconferences are good. So it's just to save money, basically, is what it's about. But with technology being what it is much better. And it's not better. I think in person is better. But in terms of your time, in terms of saying to somebody, I need you to work on this, say, for 2 or 3 days, for you to get on a plane and come to Washington and then go back, that takes time. But if you can sit at your laptop with the phone and we use Adobe Connect and work on that, and you see how that works, we get great reviewers. And we're trying now, it's hard to measure what's better. We think it's about the same. But we find the teleconference where you have the reviews, you've reviewed it, you meet with anywhere from 3 to 6 or 7 other reviewers for those applications, talk about it on the phone. We have a research administrator, we have an amanuensis who types up the notes. We have summary statements on this and that, and that works pretty well. So if you would be a reviewer, that works both ways. You get to see how the system works. We're happy because we have someone who doesn't have a conflict of interest, who does have expertise, who provides objective, clear input into the process. And again, hopefully the public benefits because we wind up funding the best proposals. So yeah, I'm sorry I don't have that handy, but if you go to the HRSA website, you'll see it on the How to Be a Reviewer.
All right, thank you. If we have any last questions for Michael Nelson, please send them to federalupdate@missouri.edu. Again, federalupdate@missouri.edu. We have a question, of course, about sequestration.
Okay.
Can you share anything with us about what HRSA is talking about in regards to this situation?
Well, I can make you all the deal. I'll tell you what I have been told, which is nothing. So, and that's literally what I've been told, which is nothing. So maybe if we had this teleconference in a day or a month or a week, a year, not a year, I guess before, what is it, January 4th or something, I'd tell you something else, but I can tell you nothing. That's where we are. Right.
Thank you. If any last questions come in after we're done here, we'll make sure those get to Michael Nelson so he can answer them. You can also contact him directly. His email is in his presentation. And please join us coming up at the bottom of the hour. Dr. Thomas Russell from the Air Force Office of Scientific Research will be giving a presentation. Thank you again for being here with us.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you very much.